With me today from GrooveMe, I've got Jake Seal. Jake, good to catch up. Good morning.
Good to see you. Good morning.
Approaching quite an exciting time for the company here. Of late, though, you've been taking a look at the corporate structure of the company.
Absolutely.
Bring us up to date.
Yeah, absolutely. So we, as you know, are preparing for what we believe are going to be several big events that we think will happen, not imminently, but certainly in the next 12 to 18 months. We have 2 or 3 large possibilities, best to describe them as kind of trade sales, big tech companies or ultra high net worth individuals or both that are really interested in the technology and have a lot of add-ons that they could bring that would really propel us, and interesting routes to market, some of which are nascent to us right now, but we've done some development in. So really exciting there, and those possibilities range from a handful of weeks to a handful of months. So, you know, really the proof's in the pudding. We also have the preparation which continues for an IPO style exit. That's taken actually a broader scope than we at first imagined. We're having discussions at the Singapore level, in the Singapore Stock Exchange. That could be, we're being told, say 9 months from now. We've got offers of people who will cover all the costs associated from that, which is obviously a big thing, and the overheads up to that point, which is a secondary concern. Really interesting. A similar offer out of Hong Kong, where this type of technology is vibrant and exciting, and the market is liquid and turning around very well. And then, of course, AIM, which was always one of our goals. You know, Alex and a couple of other members of the board have a fantastic background in exactly those floats and a lot of success. Chairman Alex has done 3 on AIM, so it's still something. That's a slightly longer point of view. I think we're probably 18 months from that. But in order to set these up correctly, in order to give us the best shot, we've started to reorganize internally. And that reorganization is at topco level, where the board has been cut down to actually its absolute minimum. So that is almost the holding company now.
Right.
That will then be populated with some very senior figures from industry and technology and everything else who we're in advanced discussions with right now. These are the sort of heavy hitters that you want to give you the corporate profile, the introductions that you need right now and in the future, and also to give you the credibility as you move into a different phase of existence. The original founding directors, who have been fantastic up to this point and driven us to where we are, they were never paid, which is a great thing. It was always very important to us that none of the core people were being paid, so we could keep the overheads really low as we developed what we needed to develop, business-wise, IP-wise, and patent-wise. Now, that's been accomplished. It's time for those directors to take control of individual offshoots that excite them and energize them. So we're building out small special purpose vehicles underneath, you know, little limited companies, and we're raising money into each of those small limited companies. The idea being that, like a business model inside a film distribution company or a film production company, that top company controls IP and branding and trademarks and all that sort of stuff, has the core staff to support things, the core knowledge to support things. But when you go out and make Gone with the Wind or Blade Runner or whatever it is down here, each one of those is a separate limited company. It's bankruptcy remote, it raises its own money, it runs its own books, it has its own team. And in our case, we won't necessarily need the hundreds, if not thousands of people you need to make a film. You'll have perhaps a handful, but you will scale according to the needs of each of those limited companies. It keeps and retains the focus of the top co very, very strongly. And most cases, each of the directors is taking one of their passion pieces there, or several things, and they're guiding then the new hires which are coming in. And there's a budget for each one of those that won't be commingled across any of these, which is really exciting. It's an appropriate way to do it, and it's the right way. And the second part of that is it allows us to tap into the crowd. There's a huge crowd out there that are investing in things that they're excited in. They're pre-buying albums, pre-buying t-shirts, pre-buying tickets, whatever it is. We want to tap into that, because if you've got access to, and I can't confirm or deny it, but if you've got access to things like Pavarotti, the Beach Boys, a huge film franchise or what have you, then these are names that have a built-in fan base. So you want to tell that crowd, you want to say, hey, we're doing this, we're going to do it by this date. Would you like to pre-buy tickets? Would you like to pre-buy an exclusive hologram? Would you like a hologram in your home? This type of stuff. And the same on the product side. As we're rolling out products, we're saying, well, we've done all the development, we've done all the hard yards, we've paid the expensive and difficult things, it's de-risked. Now, you can buy shares in this company that's doing this specific product, which will launch in 6 months' time, you know, something like that. Well, that's something that's really exciting. And from the perspective of Topco, it's also getting all of this data, which is obviously a very, very big thing to be able to have. You know, it's worthwhile, and that's where there'll be a lot of cross-fertilization across these.
Well, what more can you tell me about some of these rather significant upcoming events which you hinted at?
Well, we've been deliberately pre-revenue as a company, not completely, but almost. We've been doing a lot of trials. We've done a lot of sites in very difficult situations, popping things up the next day to do a live hologram interview, these kind of things, or trial running at a festival with 3 days of prep to see how it compared with the real thing, and contrasted with the real thing, and how many people were interested, without pushing it hard on social media and without any associated advertising. How did the crowd react? So it was really interesting. We've done quite a few things like that. We've done charity adventures and everything else where we've shown to a paying crowd, but we haven't done it as something that we wanted to particularly make money from. It was a test case in order for us to learn from. Now we're moving this quarter into very much a revenue-making position, and that includes several of the new companies which we've hived into, and also some of the older companies like India, where we've done a huge amount of work over the last 2 years. India's now signed a fantastic deal with the leading theme park, a Magica theme park. We're creating content, merchandising, and putting up the building, plus all of the holographic installations. It will be the very first of its type, certainly in India, if not in the entire world. So it's really exciting. That will have the full Zone Me 3D sound as well. So it'll be a huge, immersive, interactive space. So
is that due to go live soon?
That's going to go live in October, yeah. And we have 10 other engagements right behind it. And the scope of India, of course, is just so vast. In the Imagica one, which is owned by Ad Labs, huge PLC in their own right, one of the biggest entertainers in India, one of the biggest entertainment companies. They have a 1.5 million footfall. Well, of course, that's normally what a business is looking for. How do I get the customers through the door? Well, we've already got it. So baked into these, not just a fantastic commercial terms from our point of view, but you've got that footfall. You're not trying to chase or find them. If you bring something good to a theme park, if you build it, they'll come. It's that kind of field of dreams. So behind that, we have 10 more ready to launch, deals in place. Some that don't require any building, some that do, but otherwise directly analogous. And we're now creating the long form content for that, which will have the merchandising spin-offs and all that sort of stuff. So multiple revenue sources from that, and a huge audited footfall. 1.5 million is the minimum we're looking at in those 10 instances. Also in India, we're looking at these extraordinary opportunities to complement what's in the cinema infrastructure. So one of the big moves in India right now is to do pop-up cinema, which sounds pretty ghastly to most people, but it's not. It's actually really fantastic. So in India, you can't bring the masses to the multiplexes. There aren't enough of them, so they're bringing the multiplex experience to the masses. And what that actually means effectively is a private cinema booth, which takes 2.5 minutes to pop up, comes in a van, arrives in a van, 2.5 minutes to pop up. I think 1 or 2 people can do it. Fully air conditioned, 5.1 sound, 20K, digital cinema projector, 150 seats. Really, really extraordinary. But it means that the tier 2, the tier 3 cities in India, which are huge, now will have multiple vendors coming to them. And those vendors we're in very advanced discussions with. One of them we've signed, another one we're about to supplement and complement what they're doing with holograms. And our idea with that is you've now got an advertising platform within that. You've got a theatrical, live, sort of legitimate theatre and performance-based platform for holograms of live or deceased artists. And you've got an advertising platform, which is going to be very exciting. So the advertisers are really excited about finally getting a captive audience in these areas that, let's face it, are struggling even for water, electricity, and a lot of other things, the basics. And then on top of that, you have the politics side. Politics has always been an angle, particularly in India, but in all the developing nations. And I think it's going to increasingly be in the developed nations. That roadshow is delightfully inefficient. It costs a huge amount of money. No one's a fan of it. Whereas you could have live Q&As, you can have pre-recorded briefs, you can have meet and greets, and that's pretty exciting. So again, it's about capturing the footfall, and baked into these deals, it's a proven concept. So in one of these instances, we're looking at circa 100 installations in the first step. Then in the other one, we're looking at 1,000, 1,500. Each of those will grow to at least 3,000, such as the demand in India and the size of the population. 1.4 billion people, not all of them go to cinemas, but there's a huge amount that do and want to, and there's a huge amount of demand, as with anywhere, for entertainment. And what we see there is this is something that technology and that know-how is something that benefit every single one of our little SPVs, this pop-up mentality.
And what about demand in Latin America?
Latin America's been great. I just came back from America and from Mexico, where we were in the last stages of discussions about a big hologram tour there, which will almost certainly go out in May. Names to be disclosed at a later date, but suffice to say that huge names with global appeal, and that will branch out into something almost certain that we combine with the tourist board, because it's such a big and important thing. The idea is that we will tour Latin America for 3 months, then do America for a couple of months, then bring it to Europe for a month. So really exciting times, and it's now a very well trodden path and well proven. We've seen the success of the Roy Orbison hologram in the UK. Right. It did very well. It sold out. Australia, it didn't do so well. They actually cancelled the tour. Who knows why? But UK was a hotspot, and UK absolutely sold out. They put an extra date, so everyone involved in that is very happy with it. The hologram is now touring in America, which is great. We've always said this is a big pie, this is a big world, it's a brand new distribution platform, it's a brand new bringing content to the masses, and it's a new way to interact with content. It's a new art form in many ways for people to play around with. So it's exciting for people to be having success in their own area, which is slightly different but similar in many ways to ours. So Roy is now touring or scheduled to tour in America for about 6 months, might even be a year, and that includes a residency in one place. So it's great. So people are now alive to it. There's really great comparables that we can point at in the things that we've done, in the things that some of the competitors are doing in the space, and we're getting calls daily and excitement daily, which is a great thing. And this reorganization allows us to sufficiently marshal each piece, and it allows the fantastic founding directors we have to take hold of something that they're really excited by and basically just re-energize it, bring themselves to it, bring their personalities. We've got some pretty interesting discussions happening in Australia right now. We set up our Australian company and we set up our American company. The American company, we're about to conclude discussions with 3 very significant board members, very well known. One from the inventing side, and he comes with a patent that he's excited about and we're excited about. Another is from very senior board level in huge money raises and PLCs and trade sales and all the rest of it. Fantastic name, fantastic visionary, and he recently came across to see the Nebworth Centre of Excellence and was blown away. So we're really excited to be talking to him, really excited that he wants to come on board. And then there's a couple of very senior music figures, very well known founders of record labels and multi-Grammy winners and all the rest, who want to join. So that kind of gives us the access we want in America, and we're looking at a very exciting and iconic site in America where separately I'd been approached to set up a studio there, a film studio. It's already got a music studio background and some nascent music facilities there. They already do live performances, so it seemed an easy plug-in. So we're pretty excited about where that could go. And Australia, we've got a very similar sort of setup, again with the idea of these SPVs. India is its own SPV, individual pieces of content or individual genres of content or individual business verticals are their own SPV, are their own small special purpose vehicle. Ditto with Australia, ditto with America. America will be also handling the Latin American piece at this time, but that might become its own entity into its own right, where perhaps it's appropriate to combine with the estates that are involved, the promoters that are involved, in order to do this regularly with people who are still with us and people that are no longer here.
A lot to look forward to.
Yeah,
Jake.
no, it's really exciting.
Great to see you today. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.